what's up, you guys? Marty Schwartz here with Marty Music. We're going to take the John Mayer acoustic version of Something Like Olivia and talk about the chords and really dig into the concepts and the theory of where he's coming up with all those cool little riffs. I think it'll be really helpful and really fun to, get underneath the song. So we're going to do that. Also, thanks for supporting what I do here, Marty Music. Really appreciate you subscribing here to the YouTube channel and clicking that bell notification. It really helps me out. And then also, if you want to get deeper into learning guitar, I have a bunch of free courses at my website. A link in the first comment will take you there, and I really appreciate that as well. Here we go. All right, this tune's based on the classic 12-bar blues type of progression. So you have a G major bar chord. He's doing the Hendrix thing with the F shape and the thumb around the bass. I prefer that for my hand comfort. But if you're a thumber, then thumb it. So you got G major, and then you have C major right here with this A shape. And then you have D major, which is that up a whole step. Now, he's not really playing those voicings a lot. He's doing all that embellishing stuff. So you have C, back to G. So I'm not doing the embellishing yet, just showing you the progression. Back to C. Now Olivia is taking. And then just D. And once again, this lesson's more about concepts than breaking down every lick of the way he plays this acoustically. So there was some other videos that I've done recently talking about this little thing, and I want to go over it in a very simple way. Anytime you have a bar chord, that major, E-rooted major, you always have a perfect box right above it. So that would be 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7. Now it's good to see where the roots are in that G chord. You got the G right there. And then through this box, you get the octave root there on the 5th fret D. So any bar chord, you always have that box. Etc. What's really cool is when you play the A root chord, you have that exact same box just shifted down a string. So when I have the C major chord, I'm always going to have a box 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7s, but it's just on the A string, D string, and G string. So you start combining these ideas with the chord progression, and now you start to get that kind of feeling like you're not just strumming chords, but you're playing like a movement. So with that concept in mind, let's look at the first riff that he's playing. He'd be using that thumb trick, but check it out. You got the G, and then you're up in that box that I was talking about, and you're hammering from 5 to 7, so. And then you're skipping over the A string and hammering that part of that box, hammering up to the 7 of the D, and then releasing to what we talked about was the root, that G note. But he creates a little riff by switching which notes. So on the first one, he does that hammer on the A string. And then slides from back down with the ring finger, although you stumming it, but sliding from the single note to the chord, then again skipping the A string, but he's still sliding on that E string. So now he improvises elements of that throughout the song. So when he goes into the verse, he does that one, and then when he goes to the C major, instead of playing that version of it, he goes right into what I always call the Hendrix major chord. But remember how I talked about that box? He's just playing the top of that chord and then what's called the major third of the chord in the bass. So it's an inversion, but it's a classic Hendrix thing. But you can see it's coming from that. You still got that bar up there, so you're covering the 5th fret from the A string down, and then when you hammer that 7th fret A string, you get a C major chord. Sounds like a C major. So watch. So you do the inversion, and then the box shares notes with the G and C share notes, but it's coming from that back to G. Now the C again. Now, in a lesson where I talk about connecting chords and scales together, that's not too, it's probably only about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago from me filming this, but I even connected together and I watched him do it in the video where he connected this shape of G with this G. And I did a lesson on it. Not because I'd watched this performance, but just because it's a concept I've known from lots of different players. So it's not, it's not just from John Mayer, but. Another thing he does, which is pretty cool, is he goes into that where he just, you know, does one of his fun little improvs, but he's just playing a little. There's this great concept called the two-finger blues, and he's actually using kind of what I think of as a piece of that, but he does the G, and then he plays this little double stop, which he also does in, like, sorry. So now he's down in G, so you take the 2nd fret of the D string and the 3rd fret of the G, and you just slide it up, and now if you were to look at that, it's the 7th interval and the major 3rd interval, which are the 2 strongest notes in a G7 chord. And then he goes to a half step down, it becomes the 3rd and the 7 of the C 7 or 9 chord. So he goes, you know. So you've got, you know, you can do a 2-finger, but with the C9 or the C7, it's nice to get the root in there, right? So for the G, I feel like he probably hits the, so you hear that root, and then when he goes to the C, I think the voicing he's using is 3rd fret A, 2nd fret D, and 3rd fret G there, like that. So let me just recap the concept. So G chord, C, All right, hope you guys enjoyed the lesson. Feel free to request stuff in the comments below. And while you're down there, I appreciate you once again liking the video and subscribing here to the channel. So thank you again for supporting Marty Music, and I hope to see you later.